Aloha crafters, this is Mona. Turn an old Amazon box into a Super Bowl food platter. I used some black cardboard that I got from Walmart to cover the bottom, as you see there. Here we go. So here's the box that I got from Amazon. And I'm just checking out to see how I want to do the corners. So I cut up some other cardboard, laid it against the corners, and see how I wanted it, how I want it to be raised up. So I had to measure all four parts or all four corner pieces, and I just hot glued them on from the bottom, and I want to make sure they were all hot glued in the same places on the corner, so they all look the same. And these are the pieces that I added toward the inside of the box. And the reason why you have that is so then the chips, potato chips, corn chips, whatever you're going to serve, does not fall. And it holds the chips in place. So just hot glue those in place. Secure them on, make sure they're okay. And then what I did is I secured them with another piece of cardboard so they would not flop down or upward. They would stay in place. So add those to all four corners and you should be fine there. And again, I hot glued it. And there I am just leveling out the side because it looked like it was a little uneven. But I don't think at the end anybody would notice that because you're going to cover everything with aluminum foil. So I also added this piece there on, I believe, four sides. Oh, I'm sorry, I added to the corners too. I added those pieces there so then you can add more variety of chips so they would stay in place. They would be sectioned off. So what I did is hot glued them on the bottom, hot glued them on the side. I added duct tape to make sure that that piece would not flop over. So there you see that I have white duct tape. I secured them to hold that in place on basically all the sides. So again, you're not going to really see all this, but it'll be covered up. If you're going to just add the same chips on one side, I guess that part isn't really necessary, but I did it to have a variety of chips. I added some styrofoam on the bottom, and I added the pan just to see what the height was going to be. And then I took another piece of styrofoam that I had, and I cut that in a square. You'll see that I'm going to be adding artificial grass to that part of it. So that part touches the top of the pan so it holds it down. And then I just cut the other side of the styrofoam that I had some from packaging. And I just cut that down. And I'll move the pan around to make sure that that piece lays on top of the pan. Now that piece is so light anyway, it'll be okay. You can add some stuffing on the sides of it, but it's just going to hold some artificial grass. So I took everything out, and now you're ready basically to cover all the cardboard with some aluminum foil. And the aluminum foil that I had was the heavy duty one, which I'm glad I used it so then it doesn't rip when you're folding it through all the nicks and crannies of that cardboard. You don't want the cardboard to get greasy and stained. So I covered it all with aluminum foil, and I overlapped a lot of it so then it wouldn't, again, get covered with grease or anything from the food that I was putting in there. So all I'm doing is basically pushing it in there and lining it all over. Now I'm glad I did use the heavy duty one because it won't rip apart, and this one didn't. So I added a couple layers where it overlaps just to make sure that it wouldn't leak through the cardboard. So I'm just checking it, pushing it in, making sure that they were all done. Now these are the corner pieces of the styrofoam that I covered up that go on the top. And I'm basically just covering all that up too. Styrofoam is a messy thing to work with. I'm not sure if I would use that again. I probably would just get a piece of cardboard and do that instead. But I had this piece from packaging. I decided that I would just use this one. So cover it up really good. and you're going to see how I'm going to check it to make sure that it still fits, because once you add all this in, it gets a little thicker. And you're going to put the styrofoam back in. I put 2 layers, pushing the styrofoam in only because it gets thicker when you apply it and had so many layers of aluminum foil. Lay down the pan, put in the corner pieces, refitting them back in, and now you're ready to cover the outside of the food platter. These cardboard pieces I got from Walmart in black. They're easy to work with, and I'm glad I didn't get any foam board because they're too thick. I guess I could have taken a tape measure and measured all the corners and cut the pieces, but sometimes the measurements are a little bit off. So I decided that it wouldn't be too difficult for me to just apply some of the hot glue on one of the corners of the creases and then cut off from there. So you can see where I'm creasing everything and making it fit. This actually worked for me, and I'm glad I did it that way, and it didn't leave any indentations of the cardboard. It actually worked out fine because the cardboard was actually easy to work with. So I'm working on the opposite end. I like to work on the opposite end, get that done, and then I work on the 2 sides. So here I am just hot gluing that, and then I'll be cutting the cardboard off and making it fit. Same thing, cutting it and creasing it and folding it and hot gluing it. It actually worked out fine. So this wasn't really that difficult to do. Again, the cardboard itself is pretty pliable, but thick enough to be workable and easy enough to crease the sides over there and to fold it down. So it's a pretty easy project. I used black color cardboard because I didn't find a color that actually fit for the theme. It wasn't the right shade. Some were just like a neon color, and I just didn't want to make it that way. So best thing to do is use a basic color, and I didn't want a light color, so I made it black, and that's what I did. Now when you cut and fold the dark color of any kind of cardboard, you're going to see some of the white when you crease it. It shows, and you'll see that in some of the photographs that I had, that you can see a little bit of the white from the creases that I made. And you can always fix that if you want to make it look nicer. Just use a Sharpie pen and you can go ahead and do that. I guess if it was a lighter shade of cardboard, maybe you wouldn't have that problem. But since it's a dark color, you will see that when you crease it. So after this is all done, turn it back up and you're ready to add the potato chips and chips or whatever you want. I wanted to check how much potato chips I needed to use up or make sure that I had enough. So I did a little trial run. So that's what I'm doing right here. I needed to see how much room each section was, so that's what I did. I cut up some artificial grass that you'll see in the center over there. Add your salsa, add your guacamole. There you have it. Thanks for watching my video. If you can, please watch my other tutorial on my displays for my treat boxes for Super Bowl. Stay tuned for some more DIYs for next week. And as always, aloha.